This is Scott, the Fix-It Guy, with a fix for a Frigidaire gallery washer, sometimes also known as a GE gallery washer, that has a leak coming from the back. And first thing to check is your hoses. Make sure the hoses are on tight. In this case, we found out it was a leaky fill valve, so we're going to remove the screws on the back so we can take the back panel off. And once you get the back panel off, there's a couple of screws holding on the fill valve assembly, Phillips head screws. Just zip those out, and then you can remove the old fill valve. And you have to take a hose off, and there's a couple electrical connectors too. So looking at the old one, we can see the top of the hot side solenoid had some rust. That's showing where the leak had probably been occurring for quite a while. Just a slow dribble. Sometimes these things leak. Pretty easy to fix though. You just replace it with a new unit. They're pretty cheap, so like 25 bucks. Here's the part number, and you get this like at Amazon.com would send it to you. And before we install it, we take some Phillips head screws from the old one, and we're going to go ahead and just drive these in with a Phillips head screwdriver to cut the threads into the metal. Because if you try to put the screws on without doing this, it's really hard to get them in. It's better to do this before you try to install it. So we're going to do that also on the other hole where the other Phillips head screw goes in. So just pushing those in really with a lot of force to cut threads into the metal, and that helps to hold it on. So now we'll go ahead and put the modular connectors on, the hot side and then the cold side. And these are bringing 110 volts to the solenoids and opening them up, either the cold or the hot, depending on what selector switch you press. Once we get those on, we'll go ahead and put the hose on. That hose takes the water from the fill valve into the washing machine. We're going to put it on. We'll take a pair of pliers to press in on the hose clamp, get that tight. Now we're going to add those two Phillips head screws back in. Put these back into the fill valve. We'll get those in there tight, and then it's just a matter of putting the back panel back on, and we got it. So the back panel has a series of screws that go in around the perimeter. First thing though, you just got to line it all up. So you got to get it lined up at the bottom where the drain hose is, and then get it lined up where the fill valves come on. And then you can just go ahead and add the screws. I think there's 8 of them in total. 4 on each side and then 2 on the top. So we're getting those over the new fill valve assembly. And then we're just going to tighten those all up, and that fixed the leak. So hope that's been helpful to you and you get your washing machine working too. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.